Library District Board of Trustees to order. Good, everybody stand and pledge the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, roll call.
Roll call, trustees, we have President Carl Gilmore, Vice President Crystal Andel, Treasurer Pat Miller, Secretary Vicki Knight, and our trustees Sharon Kinley, Jason Tetz, and Lisa Schmidt. I'm Julie Milivek, the Library Director. We also have staff in attendance in abundance. Debbie Maxwell, Lisa Pappas, Tracy Lane, Lisa Smith, Sheila Hyland, Michelle Peterson, and also in attendance are our owners reps, Mark Rogers and Graham Harwood. On behalf of Nagel Hartray Architects, Eric Penny. We also have John Pamonti from R.W. Baird, our finance consultant, Vikas Shankar from the Herald News, and of course Vicki Polito, our member of the public with the camera. All right, that's
Thank you.
everybody.
Yeah. Wonderful. All right, well, the first item on our agenda is a special recognition of Sheila Hyland and her 10 years of service.
Yay!
So you can come up. And Michelle, you want to say a word?
I'm gonna flag. Do I get
You
to,
talk first.
Do I have to be in the talk first?
Yeah, and then I'll take the picture afterwards. If that's
Okay. Thanks everyone for being here. Sheila's been here for 10 years, does an amazing job. She's our lead page for the youth services area, and I actually ran the numbers for the fiscal year, last year's fiscal year. We checked out, which we're assuming that all the items came back, of course, approximately 350,000 youth services items, which means that her and 2 other part-time pages put all of those back away. And not only do they put them away, it looks amazing. If you look at our library and go to another library, the job that they do is wonderful. So Sheila, thank you so much for all of your hard work. We really appreciate it.
So on behalf of the board and the staff, there is a certificate for recognition of your 10 years, and you'll also find a little extra gift in your next
Thank you
paycheck.
very much.
Thank you
Appreciate
very
it.
much.
Thank you.
Can I get you guys all the sound clips?
Sure, of course.
It was really nice of you all to coordinate your colors. Let me take one more just in case. Perfect. Seriously, you guys all have these.
I got the memo. Thank you.
Thank you. Sheila does an excellent job. She's always a smiling face. We're so glad to have her, and I can't believe it's 10 years.
And everyone's so excited about books being checked out, but there's the other part of it. They have to get to the right place so somebody else can check it out.
Exactly, and our lead pages keep our library looking better than any other library I've ever worked in, because they take such ownership of what the bookshelves look like and making sure that everything is exactly right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we will move on to item 3 then, our public comment. First, I would invite any members of the public who have something that they would like to comment on. Seeing none, I will move on to the trustee attendance at community events and reports. We've had a couple things going on of late that trustees and staff have attended.
And I went to coffee with the mayor this last time, and at that meeting, Mike Garrigan did offer a clarification about the concerns being things that will be addressed in the final design process. That the kinds of things that he was referring to in those comments to Vikas were about the final design that won't even occur until after a successful referendum. There were some things like the west elevation that we will see the change in this meeting. It was just a matter of adding some windows in a place where we had very deliberately kept a quieter front on the west elevation of the building because it was facing the residential street, and the opinion of the village was a little bit different than what we had expected, and they wanted to see a livelier facade on that side, which was not what we had expected at all. But you'll see in when we get to Eric's portion of the meeting that that was very easy to accommodate and to actually put some windows in those meeting rooms on the first floor.
Anyone else?
When I attended today.
You want to talk about that? Sure.
The 5K celebration of the Chamber of Commerce today for the success in their fundraising efforts and the amount of participation that truly is involved in it as a community event. And
I think they said largest 5K in Will County.
yes, indeed. So it was
One of
quite
them, if
impressive.
not the largest,
Right.
yes.
Quite impressive, I thought.
Yes, yeah, good representation from both those who helped put it together and those who were recipients of some of the funds raised.
Right, right.
Very good. All right, thank you very much. Then, item 4 is our consent agenda. We have several sets of minutes.
Can I say
Oh, I'm
one
sorry,
other
did
thing?
you have one other? I apologize.
Yes, I'm sorry too. One other thing I just wanted to mention is that in our recent copy of the ILA reporter, that the Plainfield Public Library District's teen program is one of the featured articles in here. And I think it was not only well done, but I'm certainly proud of the fact that we have an opportunity to share this with every other person in our state involved with the library system.
Right.
So kudos
Yes,
to
good
the
work they
people
do,
who
all
our
of it.
teen program.
All right. All right, now on to item 4, the consent agenda. We have 4 sets of minutes. I would like to offer that I have already forwarded one piece of substantive correction that I had asked Deb to make on the special meeting minutes from last month. There was a section where we had discovered that the distribution of one of the elevations had been incorrect during the meeting. And I just wanted the record to reflect that we did also have at that meeting a correct elevation, and that was the one that we did end up discussing and talking about in terms of what's being prepared for this meeting. So that needed to be added. Were there any other substantive additions or corrections to any of those 4 sets of minutes? All right, then as a consent agenda item, they are accepted as submitted with correction. Item 5, we have approval of bills paid and bills payables. Do we have any discussion or questions about those? You all got the amended packet, hopefully, with the financials.
And as you've probably noticed, when our third Wednesday is on the 15th or 16th of the month, the financials tend to come a little later than the main part of the packet because all of the pieces that are needed to create those aren't necessarily available immediately.
Right. But everything seemed to be in order from what I got.
Yep.
So. All right, if there's no further discussion, then I would entertain a motion to accept the bills paid and bills payables as listed on the screen here.
I move that we approve the bills paid and bills payables as listed for a total of $279,936.23.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Okay.
Seconded. All right, then, Julie, roll call vote, please.
Crystal?
Yes.
Vicki?
Yes.
Lisa?
Yes.
Jason?
Yes.
Sharon?
Yes.
Pat?
Yes.
Carl?
Yes. All right, and it passes unanimously. Thank you. Item 6, look at us move. Committee reports. All right, we have not had any committee meetings since the last meeting of the library. But there was some discussion between myself and Julie about the fact that as we are going forward with our referendum process, if we vote that way this evening, that it might be helpful to have someone in attendance from the board at the Village Planning Commission. That has traditionally been something that has been done on and off with as different numbers are available. And so I have actually asked Jason if he would, as
What days and times are
chair.
those?
Tuesdays.
Tuesdays.
At 7 p.m. I want to say.
And is that the town, the
At the village.
village hall?
Right.
Yeah,
Is that
Tuesdays
something that
there.
you are willing to undertake for us? Great, thank you. I think it will be good to have a set of ears there just to
Yeah.
see if there's anything that crosses over.
And they do post them all on
Yeah.
their calendar for the village. Sharon Kinley did this for many years on our behalf when she was new to our board. And after a while, we decided not to do that anymore, but I think the time is right to start.
Yes.
If you can shoot me an email after
Sure.
just with a reminder, kind of the time so I can get that officially wrote into my calendar.
Wonderful, thank you very much, Jason. All right, then item 7, Julie, your director's report, please.
Hang on.
After you're done with that note.
Okay. Normally, this time of year, we would have the bylaws, that would be our policy update for this particular month. Because we did a bylaws update back in March, if you'll remember, we did not feel that we needed to do a full reboot of those because we did make some substantive changes and look at the entire, the bylaws overall at that time. Also, after some discussion among the administrative team, hearing no objections from the Board of Trustees, we would like to do a little more condensed version of the minutes moving forward. Starting in January, to make that move a little faster, we will still have the salient points of any discussion will be reflected in the minutes. However, this person said this, that person said that, just a much more condensed version of what we have now. And that is a recommendation that was at the ILA conference for you all also. So that it seemed the right time to go back to that sort of action only. And just a little bit about the flavor of the meeting and what happened, and go from there. Other than that, thank you all for dealing with my sudden absence due to the death in my husband's family. We are still challenged as far as his mother's health, and it's been a very challenging time, and I appreciate your patience with me and with getting back to people as evidenced by I didn't forward Carl's email to Sam that I should have. I'm getting there.
Well, and I would say kudos to the fact that probably none of us knew that. So it's working out. Thank you.
And today's Give Back Luncheon was amazing, and the Chamber of Commerce was able to give back $25,000 to the community. And one of those recipients was the Plainfield Interfaith Food Pantry, which was also the recipient of our Food for Fines donation this year. And once again, I challenged our staff to donate funds also to the food pantry, and I matched those funds in honor of our staff. So I was able to hand that check over to Mary Dickerson and Pat Cork, and they're always so wonderful to work with.
All right. I just want to lift up one other thing from the administrative report section, which was on page 15, the gift that was given. Many people participated in Giving Tuesday after Thanksgiving weekend, and you've got Black Friday and Small Business Saturday and Cyber Monday, and then we progress on to Giving Tuesday, which is when a lot of folks take an opportunity to make a donation that they might not otherwise make. And we were the recipients, according to Twitter, and the copy of the check that's along with it, through the Library Foundation of a $150 gift, which I thought was very, very generous. And a short note of recognition for all of the things that this family enjoys through the library. So I just wanted to make sure that everyone saw that and heard about it. All right, and now we're on to action items. Item 1 being building expansion planning. Topic 1, exterior elevations. Eric, John.
My intent is to kind of focus on just what's been updated. You guys have seen versions of these facades several times now. So I'll focus on that. I would like to point out, the last time I was here, someone complained we hadn't updated the cover in a while. So
Oh,
we
there we
have
go.
updated the cover. We're off the sites now.
Because we're on the site.
Yes, yes.
Did you want that?
Yep.
I was just.
Making sure it's
Battery might
working.
be drained. Seems okay.
Okay, I'll start with the south elevation, where I'll go into a little bit more detail on this. We have the right elevation with us this time. We have highlighted the cornice line that runs around the building on it at this point in time. We've also added a planter and a seating area at the front door. I'll go into that a little bit more later. It shows up better in the model renderings than it does in the two-dimensional renderings. The east elevation, we've not changed anything. Nor have we changed anything on the north elevation. The changes that we talked about with the village, and last time Don mentioned to you, occur on the west elevation. We have added these 5 small windows across the first floor here. We've rearranged the meeting room a little bit on the inside. Actually, I think it makes for a pretty nice addition to the meeting room. When all said and done, I think it's a good thing. It was a program change that allowed us to do that, so we got that to work out. We're comfortable with how that worked out. The planners, again, I'll also talk about, but one of the things they did mention, beyond just livening up the facade at this end a little bit with some windows, was they were concerned about they wanted to increase the presence of the entrance on Illinois Street. And that is a key thing in how we approach adding the planters to the building, to kind of bring some presence out to the street that you can see from Illinois more readily. So we got some still images from the three-dimensional shot here. You can see the cornice line running around the top. We brought that into the model now. It's not just in the elevations. I've got another little view of this that'll show up a little better. We've also added, the earth is now green. we're getting a little bit more detail in as we go through. You can also see that you can see into the building a little bit more now too. So those are not the book stacks where they're going to be necessarily, they're placeholders to let people know it's a library at this point in time. From the entrance area, you can still see the undulating facade over to the arched entrance here. This side again hasn't changed other than kind of updating the cornice line as it goes around the building. We still have the FedEx truck. Here's where you can see the windows that occur on the street a little bit better over on this side. And then this is where I'd like to talk about, you can see these windows, they're not a big change to the building, frankly. They're behind trees and stuff for the most part. I don't think it's going to be a problem to the neighbors either, and I think it does add some nice light into the room. The approach that we took at the entranceway was we put these planters in, and one was we wanted to get it, and bear in mind these are just placeholders. When we do a rendering, we'll put better plants in them. They're just, the model just puts in a green turf here. But we brought one of the planters out to the street, and the idea is that we could get some, we could possibly get the name of the library on that planter, have a presence out on Illinois Street. We also, as we're looking at, we're thinking there's probably more people drop off on Illinois Street than you'd expect. It's a nice, handy way to drop off to go into the library rather than going through the whole parking lot, similar to what you've got now. So we'd expect, so that was our intention, was to tap into that, have a placeholder out here that we could do some feature planting in, and then you'd have a drop off in front of it. As you move into the site, then we have another planter with the intent that there'd be a seating element around the bottom of it. It's just shown as a block. It would probably have a wood seat kind of on top of it, so it'd be a little bit more comfortable. We also like to do seats that have a little enough detail that skateboarders don't like to ride them, things like that. And we're also thinking as the design develops in the later phases, it might be nice to add in some pavers and things similar to what the downtown has kind of around this area at the entrance to kind of relate that. So our intent was kind of tie this in. We put a rather large planter in front of the library with seating around. We got facing spaces here. We thought this is where you could have a group of kids out, you could read to them and things too, or people could sit and watch. We're also cognizant that the people in the back of the meeting rooms are looking down on all this outside. So we think the plantings in there are really crucial for kind of what they see when they're looking back out. We don't want them to have kind of, we want some green at their level too, kind of. So this is a rendering, a point of view on the site that we thought might be good to do the rendering from. It's from downtown. You're on your way to the library. You can see the planter as it makes an appearance out onto the street. The trees are kind of ghosted in here, so you can get a view of what the library looks like. If we do the rendering, we'll probably leave the ramp off the front of the church. There's a big ramp that was added there at one point in time. Not quite as attractive. Our architectural license would say that we put the corner of the building there and not the ramp. But we're thinking this might be a good view to see. You can pick up the undulation of the wall, the entrance signage, the archway, the planter featured on Illinois Street. We thought that made a nice transition. I don't know if you want to run the movie, or if you guys have seen it enough.
This is just the fly around now with the new elevations. Okay.
It's the same thing with the updates on it.
Yeah.
We've made the windows a little more transparent. We put the materials inside, so it starts feeling a little more three-dimensional when you look at it. And we're thinking we can mess around with maybe putting some light within, like the model's going to have or something, to give a little idea of how transparent. We want to give some of the sense of how transparent this is going to. How transparent this is going to feel in the evening with the big window, how you can see in and see the activities that are going on within the library. So here's the window where people can look out and see down on top of these planters. And we're thinking with the planter, those two locations and the corner of the building, we could kind of create a step of different planting levels that kind of integrate that and anchor that corner. So I'll show you I'll show you the changes to the plan that this requires. Very minor.
The interiors, right?
Yep. It's really all in the meeting.
Doesn't it? Yeah.
Yes,
Yep.
I'm very happy that you did that.
Yeah, I think, it's taken a while, but I think all the little changes have kind of really helped bring it all together. I think
Keeps taking it further from that big box
yes.
look.
Yep, yep. No, and these are changes usually come a little later, but it's fine that they've come now, and it helps convey the idea of the building. That's what we're looking to do. The real change is that we used to have an equipment room called off across the end here, and this was for the service in the exterior lockers. Those were removed from the program, which allowed us to slide the equipment room down here and make the meeting room extend all the way to the street. So those 5 windows are centered on the room back here.
Okay.
It's very nice, we think. This is a movable wall that when you're in the lobby, when that wall's opened up, you can see through and get daylight from that side as well too. And it helps activate that interior room that really wasn't, it was the only room in the building that wasn't getting natural light. So we think in the end, that was a good comment, worked out well,
Yeah.
and the program change allowed that to happen.
And that wall moves up, is that correct? That moves
Well, we
wall?
haven't figured
We
out,
haven't set
they can't
that yet.
all.
Okay.
They can't all move
Okay.
up. 2 of them are probably gonna move up, and 1 is gonna move sideways. We've gotta
Okay.
sort out which ones. And it's
How
because
we're
of
gonna make
ducts
that
that we
work.
can't move. We'd like them all to disappear up,
Yeah.
but air has to get into the room from some direction, and we gotta run ducts through.
Open the
some-
window, you put windows in now.
We did put windows in, yes.
But those are the kinds of design challenges that will come in the post-referendum period.
Yes.
And during that process, there will also be more opportunities for public input. So we would probably run some small design charrette kinds of
Yeah.
things at that time. Bear in mind that should this referendum pass in March, we would not be breaking ground until the
Roughly the following
following March. So we would have a year of design process and bids and pre-qualifying bidders and all the things that go into that.
Everyone always wants to go earlier. This year maybe the El Nino winter it looks like, but I'll remind you what last winter was like. You know, so we don't count on breaking into the ground until March. So that's really the only change that's occurred to the plans. All the other plans have remained the same. I've got a site plan at the end here, I think. There it
Yep.
goes. So we've colored in the whole block now, and we've shown all the parking, the maximum it could be built up to.
Right. Yes.
At this point in time. We've added in the planter areas, but otherwise it's really the changes to the parking area.
And the other idea was that perhaps to not take down some of the historic homes that was brought up by the village, in order to preserve some of those, we would have to reduce parking, but that is, again, the parking is included in the package, and if the village decides that they would allow a larger variance, would prefer to preserve the homes rather than increase the parking, because that's the trade-off we're talking about, that we could do that at that time. Remember that we do have, the purchase of those properties will only happen if this referendum is successful.
As we talked about with the village, the parking up here would be prioritized towards the staff. And the idea is the parking down at this end is closer to downtown and closer to the front door of the library, and that would reserve that whole parking lot pretty much for the public to use. And that would be the most benefit in the whole arrangement. So, we've talked before, there's an ability to scale this back to about half that number of parking spaces up there too. But it's, frankly, it's another thing that took us by surprise as a village. We hear a lot of need for parking, and they're doing studies to determine if there's as much need as there is perception.
Now on Illinois Street, that indentation, where the drop-off is gonna be?
Yes.
Is that parking there too?
There's parking along Illinois Street, and we're thinking that there will be some parallel parking along there, but we would probably end up striping off in front of the drop-off area so that you could just pull off, and we might bring the curb out around to protect that or something at the last parking spots too.
And again, that is something that we would
Right.
have to work very closely with the village on. We know that our area out front of this library was,
Very bad.
is the way that it is because of the design preferences of the village board at that time.
You know, they're even willing to talk about different access from Route 59 and things. So it's a different partner, they bring some different things to the game, and they're all things that we can solve pretty readily, I think, in the next go-round. If referendum passes, we will start meeting with them immediately about the site conditions.
An interesting possibility that this alignment offers is with the parking entryway aligning with the delivery door, you could actually
Yes.
get backup delivery rather than side drop lift
No.
delivery potentially.
We've
on that
even
backside.
shown, you have that kind of unique, large recycling area, drop-off place and stuff out there. We even have a way to accommodate that with this expanded area,
Yeah.
so.
Yes.
It does open up some other site opportunities.
Right.
Because the site is tight without that space. So we are exactly on schedule right now. And this is the big decision night, but we've got the design, we feel, and the cost and everything kind of pulled together. We hope to your satisfaction at this point in time. Our next step is, if you're fine with everything, Julie would like the rendering and the plans and everything delivered to her by December 29th. And we'd like to not work the week of Christmas, so our goal is to get a tour by the 24th. But if everyone's okay with that, we'll proceed with doing those drawings. We talked to the model maker. They were holding off on the entryway and the west facade until after tonight's meeting. And then they said they would be ready in early January, which I would think would probably not be January 1st, but January 8th or something. It's probably more like that.
I'm pretty sure
Well,
that,
people say
yeah,
early,
that-
that's
that-
anytime
yeah.
before the 15th, is what they're gonna think, but.
No, that makes sense.
The proposed, you can see